everybody? Welcome back to JT Channel. I want to do a fun little discussion that I think is pretty relevant at the moment. I haven't done a whole lot of these lately. I've been really fucking busy, to be completely honest with you. But we're going to jump into this one. I don't want to take up too much of your time, and there's a lot of other content creators talking about this that have better positions and more followers than I have. So let's just jump right into it. And basically, as it says in the title, the big discussion right now in the pro wrestling space, besides CM Punk, we're not going to talk about that because I'm not here to speculate on someone who's none of my business, to be completely honest with you. But instead, we're here to talk about Will Ospreay and Wembley, right? All in this year, back to Wembley Stadium like it has been multiple times. We're also not here to talk about ticket sales. I just don't fucking care. I'm not going. I'm just going to watch it on TV, and that's all I care about is watching it on TV. But the big discussion is who is he going to face at Wembley Stadium? Now, he's headed to face Swerve Strickland at Forbidden Door, which we all kind of saw coming from the moment the brackets were released for the Owen Hart Cup. And while we're all 99% sure that Will Ospreay is going to win at Wembley, obviously AEW and Swerve and Ospreay will do everything in their power to make us second guess, make us doubt. But the biggest question is, will he be facing MJF at All In? I don't know why my cadence got so weird there for a second, but yeah, I see you wearing my hat. The thing is, everyone wants to go one way or the other, basically. And that is, some people really think it's a good idea for Ospreay to face MJF because it's the obvious mega baby face, which you could argue all you want about how big these wrestlers are, but Ospreay is one of the most over baby faces in AEW right now. Even on Dynamite this week, which had a bit of a quieter crowd, Ospreay wasn't on TV for this show, which I thought was a mistake, but I think they would have probably gone a little nuts for Will Ospreay. Or is there a chance that Kenny Omega could be world champion by the time we get to Wembley? And that's the big talking point because AEW announced a new pay-per-view and it's being held in Canada and it's called Redemption. So a lot of people are assuming that it's called that because of where it is and because of Kenny Omega, and we never got that match and yada. But we did. Point is, Kenny Omega's redemption arc could be him winning the world title and going into Wembley to face Will Ospreay. And well, I think both arguments have their merit, right? You have the obvious one, the big babyface, big heel. I already mentioned that. MJF is doing some of the best heel work he's ever done. He's probably arguably wrestler of the year right now. He's having great matches. He's on TV a lot more. Well, he was always on TV a lot, but this version of his character wrestles on TV a hell of a lot more than his old characters did, his old gimmicks did. And he's so good at being bad. He gets cheered usually during his entrance because people love him and the character so much, but he's usually able to piss you off anyway. He actually does get booed quite often. So to get a proper heel reaction in 2026 is pretty impressive. And the big 2-6, as I have been saying for way too long now. And then when you go to Will Ospreay, like I said, he's also got a huge arc, a huge redemption arc, because he really hurt his neck, and the Death Riders have been making him better, and he's been doing good stuff, and of course now he's in the finals of the Owen, and it's watching the story of Will Ospreay. My cats are knocking things over. It's the fans really like, I won't say living vicariously through Will Ospreay, but we all have been in a situation where we're down and we have to build ourselves back up. I'm not saying we've all been injured before, because obviously that's just not true. But we've all been there for someone that has been through that, or we've been through it ourselves. So it's easy to get behind Ospreay for those reasons. So to a lot of people, it's a no-brainer. You have the heel and the babyface, the classic pro wrestling dynamic. It's Wembley Stadium. It's Will Ospreay's, I think, his actual hometown, not just his home country. Hold on. Visitor. So it makes a lot of sense. He gets his big win, his big title win, wins his first AEW World title in Wembley Stadium. It'd be awesome, right? The other side of the coin, the other side of this argument is that there's a couple of things you could do with both MJF and Will Ospreay that could lead to two really big matches at Forbidden Door, at All In, that could work as well. And the big one for the world title is what's right behind me, and like I mentioned, Omega and Ospreay. Even at this stage in their careers, I think it'd be match of the year quality. I think they would have they'd have a chip on their shoulder. They'd main event All In. The world title would be on the line. They put everything into this match. Not that they don't put everything in every match. Kenny Omega could wrestle a broom, ironically. And it would get 5 stars from the Wrestling Observer, 6.75 in the Tokyo Dome. And a lot of people want to see that match. I'm one of them. I would watch Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay wrestle every single week. I would never get bored of it. How could you? They're so innovative as well that even if they had like a 7-match series, for example, if they did a best of 7, all 7 matches would feel different. And I know they would. I've been watching them for not super long, but long enough now that I feel like that'd be a good idea. And again, the main event of Wembley Stadium being 2 top of a lot of people's lists, wrestlers in the world, 2 of the best in the world that know each other so damn well, it would be epic. As far as MJF could do, Hangman Adam Page could come back and cost MJF the world title at Redemption. He could show up and be a part of that. And then we could get that feud without the world title because Hangman can't challenge for the title ever again at the moment. MJF mentioned that on Dynamite, I think, last week because they were in Hangman's neck of the woods. So you could do those 2 matches at All In as well. And again, that's a really good argument. I know I'm gushing a bit over Omega and Ospreay, and I apologize if I sound like a mark, but my name's Jared, so I don't even know who you're talking to. But it's a really good alternative, I think, is you could do that. You could have those 2 matches. And I know that MJF and Hangman did the Texas Death Match already, but they can still give this one a stipulation, right? It's All In. It's their biggest match, biggest show of the year match. So you could go either direction, I think. And I think that everyone would be happy one way or another. Because you're either going to get Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega, or you're going to get Will Ospreay versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And they both carry with them different connotations, different stories, face-heel dynamics, yada, yada, yada. So the big question, as I said, this is not going to be a long video. Apparently it's going to be even shorter than I thought. For me, is what would I prefer? And I think that's what a lot of content creators in the wrestling space are talking about right now, is what would they prefer. And honestly, I think it's a bit of 60-40, maybe 70-30. It's real close. It might be like 55-45. I would rather see MJF and Will Ospreay because of the heel-face dynamic, because of the story. You know Will Ospreay and MJF are going to have just cutting fire promos. You know that people are going to just go nuts for Will Ospreay. They're going to go nuts for MJF too, but they're going to boo him. He'll probably do some really gnarly, nasty stuff in London, and on the way to London, he'll say some shitty things about people from there. He'll just be MJF, right? Maybe he'll come out and have the big American flag with his face on it or something. So I just think it has a better dynamic, in my opinion. Again, I would never say no to Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega. So I hope we can do that down the line. Maybe that's a main event for a future show. Maybe All Out, All In and All Out are usually pretty close together. And I'm not saying All Out's as big as All In, but they try. I can't think of a major event after All In. And, well, Full Gear. Full Gear has been one of my favorite pay-per-views multiple years in a row. Maybe that's just a personal thing with me. I don't know. But they could do that at Full Gear, Ospreay and Omega. Maybe they save it for All In next year. Maybe they plan on a year-long build or something. I wouldn't do that. As a lot of content creators I watch say and point out, you never know what tomorrow's going to hold. Shout-outs and thoughts and prayers and whatever else, all the happy feelings. That's dumb. All the goodness to Maya World, talking about you never know what's going to happen in this world. Or in this life, I suppose. I was trying to fix my camera my daughter just kind of ran into. But yeah, I wouldn't wait super long to do Omega Ospreay, but you don't have to do it at all, right? You can do the title change with Ospreay in his home over the mega heel, and then you can get Kenny Omega in the title picture, and they can have their big match. You could even do it on Dynamite, as far as I'm concerned. They won't, and really they shouldn't. It's a big match for AEW, but you could do it wherever you wanted. So I suppose that's my 2 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents, whatever the hell the phrase is on this whole thing. I was going to call it an argument, but I don't think it's an argument. I think it's just a happy conversation that the wrestling world is willing to have right now. Is, okay, what do we want from All In this year? I will say that I don't care either way as my camera gets knocked again. I'm not going to be one of these people. There are very few of them, but there are people out there that are like, oh, if it's one or the other, I'm going to be mad that it's not this one. I don't care. Both matches are going to be great. You do have to do the MJF Hangman storyline somewhere, so maybe MJF and Hangman can still interact before then, maybe even at All In, or maybe after All In, Hangman comes back and then we get into that feud. And then, yeah, so that's my opinion. I think it should be MJF and Will Ospreay main eventing Wembley, and then you can do Ospreay Omega somewhere else, etc., etc. I will end this video by saying I've really been enjoying wrestling overall lately. I apologize that I haven't been on here much talking about it, but pro wrestling as a whole has been really good. And yeah, I think AEW's on fire heading into Forbidden Door and the rest of the year. So thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave comments. Which one do you want to see? Would you rather see the babyface mega match or the classic pro wrestling, you know, I don't want to call it a trope, but you know what I mean. It's the bad guy versus the good guy in the good guy's home country. So which one would you rather see? Let me know in the comments. Plenty more to come on the channel. Hopefully more wrestling stuff. But until next time, this is JT Channel. I am JT. I'll see you in the next one.